Welcome back to Build for Health, where we pull back the curtain on what it takes to build a strong, healthy body and a fitness routine that sticks. I'm Pete Wright, here with Srdjan, and today we're talking about goals. Hopefully not the way you've heard 1,000 times before. We're going to dig into the difference between chasing outcomes and building identity. What happens when your goal isn't to lose weight, but to become the kind of person who never skips a workout? Is there a real science behind this idea, or is it just motivational fluff? Let's get into it. All right, Srdjan, this actually came as a question. I think it may have been the first question that was ever asked the show.
Yes.
And here we are. We're going to talk about it. What do you see?
Yeah, this is the first time that somebody asked me this question. And I see people come in with all kinds of different goals. But I never really thought about this way. But now that I read that question, it made me think about it throughout the years, all these different clients that I've seen and the goals they had and who succeeded, who didn't, who sticked with their fitness journey and who kind of left and then all of a sudden came running back a few months later or another year later.
Yeah.
It's just like, I'm like, it kind of makes me think about it. And then I'm like, I'm going to actually start talking about that to people that come in for the consultation when they have different goals and just kind of make them see this as a way of life.
Yeah. The question specifically was, has there been any longitudinal research comparing behavioral change adherence in individuals who set identity-based goals versus outcome-based goals in fitness? Let's set the table with giving an example of what we assume this question means.
Because I did some digging and I'm like, I wanted to see if there were any research, but it says that there is a real research showing that when people start thinking of themselves as someone who exercises, not just someone trying to lose weight, they're more likely to keep going long term. So, for instance, one 6-month study found that exercise with a strong identity around being active had better motivation types, and those motivations and identity fed off each other. So, and there was another study with parents showing their activity habits and identity strengthened together over a few months. So identity isn't just a fluff, it has a measurable impact on who sticks with fitness. Right. So there were some studies that have been that were done, and I mean, I've seen that with my clients. And it's interesting.
Okay, so let's talk about what is it though. What is an identity-based goal versus an outcome-based goal, as you see it with your clients? Well,
the outcome-based goal, they just come in and it's kind of like saying, all right, well, I want to lose 20 pounds and, or I want to be able to bench press 225. I need you to help me I need you to help me get ready for my high school reunion. Yeah, it's kind of they're just in it until they reach that specific outcome, that specific goal. And usually they come in like right before the summer and their vacation, and they're like, okay, I got 3 months, I got to lose 20 pounds. And they'll do whatever it takes and do things that are not very realistic. Whatever it takes.
Maybe not very healthy.
Yes, so it's that as well. And they don't care what they lose and how they'll lose. They just want to lose the weight. So when they step on the scale, they're 20 pounds lighter, right?
Yeah.
So, but the identity-based goals is like focus on who you want to become, that building that identity around the behavior. Like I want to become a kind of person who works out consistently and becomes a part of my lifestyle. And, you do action because they reflect your identity now, not just to get the result. So that's kind of a difference. And I've seen both of them. Like those clients come in.
We were talking about this when I was in the gym last time. I feel like I'm kind of in the middle of the two. So I want to talk about that journey, because I am normally a very goal-focused person. And my experience with being goal-focused is when I reach the goal, I move on to another goal. And that has in the past included fitness. So when the apps the fitness apps started coming out, when they started tracking on the phone. I mean, now what is that? 20 years ago, I did the Couch to 5K app. I did the 20 pull-ups app. I did all the apps, and then I hit the mark. Right? You are not going to believe this, but I could actually do pull-ups.
How long ago was this, you said?
For 20 years. It was 20 years. I don't care to relive it. Anyway, I could do it. And then I stopped. Once I reached that goal, I think something in my head said, you've accomplished this. It's time to move on. And the next thing that I didn't involve movement at all. It was just a new, unrelated goal. And, there's an old Saturday Night Live sketch where, Bill Murray, I think, is playing Hercules after Hercules stops working out. And it's like a lip sync thing. And he says, what they never tell you is if you stop working out, all that muscle turns to fat. And that's what I felt like. I felt like SNL Hercules. Having lost everything. And it's all because I'm goal-focused without I have no rebound, right? What I was telling you is, I think I'm in the middle of that stretch. Like, I'm trying to become an identity-based person. If I didn't have you at the gym waiting for me, I think there is a very good chance now, even after, I don't know, how long have we been doing this, 5-6 months, I might choose not to go, right? Because it's not in my bones yet. Like, it's in my blood, not my bones. And I want to hear what you think about making that transition. How does one, in your experience, amplify this fitness journey to become someone who identifies as I'm a fit person, not I just have a goal of working out.
For you, what I would recommend to you is, you make a big fitness goal that will take you a long time to reach, and then make those small goals that will lead you to that big one. So you get the small wins and you get those satisfactions of reaching those goals. But then after that small win, now you on to that next one and the next one and the next one till you reach that final big goal. But that big goal is got to look at a big picture that's going to be years from now. So that way, whenever you reach the goal, you already have the next one set up.
I have a new goal, incremental goal setting.
Incremental goal, yeah. So you keep going. And then I've seen throughout the years that when people do that, they get addicted and they fall in love with the process. Because I tell people always, like, enjoy the process. Enjoy this, changing your lifestyle. So during those times, they'll notice they're changing their lifestyle. Now they're enjoying it. And then I would hear them, if they leave for like a week for work or something like that, if they go on a trip, they're like, oh my God, I was looking for the gym and I couldn't find one and I wanted to work out. And they're like, I have to, I feel like I need to. Like, it was driving them crazy, because now they're starting to implement that, and they were like, I can't do it. Like, I couldn't wait to come back to get into the gym. And then they get that workout and they're like, oh my God, they get that dopamine. It just like feels so good.
Yeah.
So that's how then they turn that goal now into their lifestyle. It's just setting up those little ones. Because, if you set up a goal too big and it takes you a long time to reach it and you're just not getting there, it can be very discouraging as well.
Okay, so give me an example. And I'm not speaking just for me, though I'm definitely getting some help out of this. But what is the big years down the road distant goal that is good? Or give me some examples of some that you have seen that have been motivating for folks that you've worked with.
Well, there's a lot of people that are like, want to, be able to play. They were like, oh, my daughter is pregnant, and I'm going to have grandchildren, and I want to be able to run with them and play sports and take them out and all that stuff. So I'm like, okay, let's, work towards that goal. Let's get you in shape. Let's get you to the point where you can now run a little bit longer, where your knees don't hurt. Let's have you be able to do some push-ups and get down on the ground and get up without having a back pain and all that stuff, strengthen your core and things like that. So those usually would be the goals, bigger goals. And then we set up a bunch of small goals to get
I
him.
was waiting for you to say that you were going to suggest that I should enter an old man bodybuilding competition.
We can do that
like
too.
That I should start.
We can set that goal.
You're not supposed to just agree that easily. It's a laugh line, man. Just laugh first. But I get what you're saying. This is a motivation. This is a thing that has to be unique to me, right? It has to be something that I need to be motivated by. And the whole reason I walked into the gym is because I want to live a long and healthy life with my wife. I know already she's probably going to outlive me because, statistics and all of that. But
and she's
I
really
want to make
strong.
it as...
I mean, she's strong. She's a beast. I mean...
Yeah,
it's fun training and watching her work out. And I'm like, you gotta catch up. We gotta hurry up. We gotta start 5 days a week because this woman doesn't stop. And when she goes 110%. It's scary.
You are killing me right now. She listens to this, right? You are killing me right now. It. Oh my God. But that's my entire goal. Like I would like to see multiple generations of my family. I'd love it if my kids had kids. I'd like to be around to play with them. And so that's definitely an underlying motivator. The littler goals, I'm assuming we're now talking about let's get to the point where I can get back to doing the pull-ups or the push-ups or something like that. Is that kind of what you're talking about? Or
yeah, there is a lot of them that come in and they're like, I had one client. He was like, I was never able to do a pull-up, even in high school. And, college came and life came and it's just, he was never able to do any pull-ups. He tried going to the gym and didn't know what he was doing and stuff like that. So we worked for a decent amount of time. I mean, for probably a year and a half, I had him with me. And we set up other little smaller goals because I wanted him to feel like he's winning. He's going towards them, that he's accomplishing some things. Because he was a bigger guy. And so I'm like, okay, it's going to take a little while to gain the strength with weights. And there are little steps that you have to take till you get to that point. And then he started loving every single minute of it and little goals and stuff like that. So I kind of got his mind a little off of that, just doing pull-ups. And then one day I told him, I'm like, remember when you wanted to do pull-ups? I'm like, why don't we try? And he was like, really? Serious? I'm like, yeah. So he got we had Olympic rings at the gym. So he jumped on it and he did 8 pull-ups. And he was like, wow. He was
stellar.
Screaming it out. He was like, oh my God, I can do pull-ups, all this stuff. And I'm like, remember very first time when we sat down, when we talked about how that was also one of your goals. He also wanted to be healthier. He realized that he was gaining a little bit more weight and, it just wasn't in shape and he was tired and feeling fatigued all the time and he was just tired of it. So that was also another reason, but it was kind of his goal one day to do pull-ups. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to get him to there. So
it falls right in line with some of the research that I pulled up too. There's a just as recently as a 2024 study that it was a shorter longitudinal study among college students that showed exercise identity mediates the relationship between positive body image or appreciation and physical activity, right? It's one of those things that you just will start to like yourself more.
Oh, yes.
And that's something that I don't know that I would have expected, but I would call this satisfactorily reaching a goal. That when I, come home and I feel sore and I go in and take my shirt off and I notice my shoulders are a little bit broader than they were 2 weeks ago, I actually like myself more, right?
Yes.
That's a legitimate accomplishment when you're coming off of feeling the shame of not moving, of not figuring out how to move, of not thinking of yourself as somebody who could.
Yeah. It's called that self-love, self-confidence, that self-esteem that you get. I had this young guy once. He was pretty young. He was very overweight, very shy, and he just didn't like the way he looked. So he kind of stayed away from the crowd. And we started working out together. And he lost a lot of weight. And all of a sudden he was like coming to the gym and telling me, he was all excited. He was a younger guy, so he was telling me how now the girls are approaching him and they're talking to him, and he is like excited. And then all of a sudden, the next thing I know, he's coming in like with the cut-off shirts and with the tank tops. He loved the way he looked now, and he can actually look at himself and feel, proud how far he got. So all of a sudden, his whole personality was changed. He went from like this shy little guy to like just nonstop talking, and just like, my God, what happened to you? So
like maybe
it was like,
maybe tone it down a little bit,
like,
dude.
All right, like, calm down, Tiger. I'm like, hold on. So it was good to see. He was so much happier. He was just walking around with a smile on his face all the time, and he was like kind of nice that now I have to have a whole new wardrobe, and like I have to get new shirts and pants and all that stuff. But
that's the best problem to have.
Yeah, and he loved. Now all of a sudden, you can tell he was like, I can tell him, corner my eyes, I see him like checking himself out in the mirror and all that stuff, looking at himself and flexing and all that stuff. I'm like, good. I'm like, you should be proud of that. It's not cocky. I'm like, it takes a lot of work to get there. And when I see somebody in the public and, full cool, but they're showing off their arms and all that stuff and they're good looking, like, I'll give them a compliment because it feels good when you go, because it takes a lot of discipline.
What it takes.
Yes, to get there.
Yeah.
And you should be proud. And they want to show off their hard work. And I'm like, you should. Like, don't let anybody tell you, like, oh, you're just showing off and all that stuff. I'm like, no, that's a hard work. It's a lot of discipline. So show it off. Be proud.
Yeah.
So, it's nice when you get those compliments. So I know how it feels. So I try to give other people those compliments, and they like hearing it from somebody like who's a little bit bigger than them and all that stuff. So it makes them smile. It makes their day. It makes them want to go back again to the gym. Just anything that I can do to encourage them.
Well, yeah. For all of the reasons, how do you see? I mean, do you, and this is maybe, I don't know, this is maybe a question akin to something I would ask a bartender, right? About the kinds of relationships that they develop in the bar, right? What are the stories you hear? But I'm really curious about how identity-based goals help people that you work with reduce stress and anxiety about actually doing this, because my hunch is that when you have goal-based objectives, there is additional stress. Generally, maybe it's time pressure, weight pressure, whatever it is. You put a ticking clock over your head. That means there's the pressure of potential shame of failure. And I'm wondering if the people that you see who come in with those kinds of with the variety of goals have a different relationship with stress when they approach the actual workout.
Well, I have one guy right now. He's in his mid 50s, but he came in and he didn't know what he was doing. He didn't want to go to big gyms like 24, LA Fitness and all that stuff. He felt like he was embarrassed. He didn't know how to use the machine, that everybody was going to be looking at him, watching him. So we started working out. I started teaching him everything. And he, all of a sudden, he just wanted to slim down, lose some weight. And now the goal is like completely different, change. Like he just wants to get stronger and, see more muscles and things like that. So he's now a lot more confident. Now he said he will tell me like when he goes, and he takes trips now and then and for work, and he'll find the 24 now in LA Fitness and go there, and he has no problem going in there. And he's so confident that sometimes he would, if he sees somebody doing something wrong, he'll come over and he'll like explain them how to do it. And so they feel so much more confident, and they don't feel stressed out. They know now what they need to do to like either maintain, if they're going somewhere and they're not going to have a lot of time to work out in that week, maybe once or twice, they know exactly what they need to do. They're not stressing about losing any, muscle mass that they gain or something like that. So they're a lot more confident in themselves. So, and they keep coming back because they want me to kind of teach them more, push them more. And so they're a lot more confident. They don't really stress so much about anything. When they feel good, there's a lot less stress, and He was like, even the work is now easier. It was like,
yeah. Well, I found an article that the reason I ask is I found an article that was kind of adjacent to that question, but I thought it was funny. I think it must have been sponsored by one of the big chains because the entire effort of the research was to predict attendance behavior at a fitness center. Like, what is it that helps people come back to the gym repeatedly? And one of the biggest things that they were talking about here is that when people have a successful launch, right, when they start working out and feel good and appreciated and see their identity start to change, they reduce their stress in their lives, and reducing life stress is actually the number one thing that will get people back to the gym, that will fill the seats, so to speak. And I thought that was really an interesting perspective. Whether the motivation is, purely capitalist, I can see that, right? I can see when I start to feel better about myself, I start to see fewer obstacles to getting in the car and driving over to the gym and actually going through the door.
Yeah, I had a client yesterday comes in, and she didn't seem like she was in the mood. She was like, I need this. I need to get all this stress out. Let's do this. There's too much going on right now. And she came in and she felt so much better after the workout. She was like, okay, this is what I needed. This is exactly what I needed. It's like, now I can think clearly. I can calm down. My mind is like clear. So she felt completely different. She's like, this is what I need. Like when she gets stressed out with everything else. And it wasn't really a lot about the workout, what we were doing that day. It's just, and it's same for me. Sometimes it's not because it's a back day or whatever, leg day. It's just like, I need to work out. There's too much going on in my life. Like, there's too much stress, and this helps. I take it out on the weights gym and I sweat it out, and I feel so much better. I get out of the gym now, I'm more calmer. I can think clearly, and now I can take smaller steps and resolve whatever is going on in my life. So it helps with a lot of things. Sometimes it's not even about the workout or about your goal, whatever that might be. Sometimes you just need it to help you feel better because whatever is going on at that moment. So
you just said something that I really relate with, and I didn't see it coming. It was that it helps me slow down. One of the things I've noticed is, when we work out and I leave the gym, often I'm completely hobbled, like I'm moving in slow motion. But that honestly is a really helpful outcome, right? Feeling like I've worked out to the point where I have to slow down because I can't move very fast. It actually makes me more thoughtful for the following several hours, right? It makes me less stressed and more. And the fact that I get to, even when I'm super stressed, I get to exert some control in my life.
Yes.
Right?
That's exactly what it is. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's fascinating. We have a couple of questions that came in since last week's episode.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I think they came in ready for our listener questions episode, but didn't make it. And I just want to ask you, because we're kind of on the subject.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
The first one is specifically for you from somebody named Links ? I think you said you would share a list of links to Insta influencers you actually like, but I'm not seeing them in the show notes.
Oh,
I don't think you sent them to me. That's why they're not there. Links. I'm very sorry.
That was my bad.
And we will put them in, and we'll get that done. So you'll probably have to delete and re-download that episode from your podcast app.
By the end of this week, I'll list them all. I might, if I try to do it right away now, I might forget some of them.
Yeah.
So I'm going to actually
by the time you hear this next week, that will be replaced.
Yes.
Okay. The next one is this from New to the Game. Srdjan mentioned that powerlifters can be stronger but smaller than bodybuilders, and this pretty much blew my mind. Can you explain more about how strength and size are clearly not the same thing?
They work out differently. They have a different goal. So when you the workouts are different for powerlifters and different for bodybuilders. I mean, you'll see a lot of times, that's why they said don't, judge the book by its cover, because I've seen a lot of guys just because they look bigger. Doesn't mean they're stronger. Plus, these days, there's so many different supplements. Everyone's on steroids. Everyone's on, and, they don't have to lift that heavy. As long as they break down the muscle, they use all these supplements. They look huge, but then you'll have someone a lot smaller and they're like really strong. And I've seen a lot of people in the gym that are like just incredibly strong. And when you're looking at them, you wouldn't think that. And there's the guy next to them that is like a lot bigger. Like you can see their definition and strong. It just and doesn't push that weight because it's the repetition, it's the reps and sets and all that stuff that's different for power lifters, and then they're different for bodybuilders. So it's definitely possible.
Well, and what's the relationship then between, because I think part of the issue is when you look at a power lifter, you're looking at somebody who's training for strength and they don't really care what they look like, right? They're not shredding, right? They're not
that's
like
not their
dehydrating.
Goal. Yeah.
They're not dieting to the point where they are like their skin looks, thick.
Yeah.
Right, you don't see definition, but the muscles are under there. I think that's what we have to think about,
the
right?
Strength of the muscle doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be huge, big. That means that determines the strength. It doesn't. Those big guys, they're strong as well. But sometimes you'll see a smaller guy than them that's like way more stronger. I've seen so many of them at the gym. The guy will come in and he's bench pressing, and I know I would go with my brother, and we're like, I was standing and looking at him, I'm like, I gotta see this, because I'm like, this is so much weight. I feel like his hands are just gonna break in half.
Yeah.
And he'll do like 4 reps, and I'm like, wow. I'm like, one guy that was before him, it was bigger than him, did a lot less, but he was working on the size, so he was repping it out. He was doing more. If he was putting that much weight, I doubt he would do that much. It was just, it's a different type of training. Could? Yeah, I've never seen that guy ever lift that much.
Yeah,
I mean, I can see how much he can do repetition with the lighter weight. I'm like, if he had more, there wouldn't be that much in him. But and then I'll see a lot of bigger guys, like they try to go heavy sets, and it's just sometimes smaller guy comes in and he just does that like no problem. Does like 6 reps more. And it's like, whoa, it's like you did not expect that. See that, but he trains for strength, so you can definitely stick around the gym a long time and walk around, and you'll be impressed with some of these people, like the strength and the size, and you realize there are some really strong guys that might not don't look that big, but they can push some weight. It's just unbelievable.
Interesting.
They're all people come in all different shapes and sizes and strength. So, it's not always the bigger one is the stronger. Yeah,
but different muscles inside different bodies.
Yes. Maybe that guy,
differently.
He can bench press that much, but when it comes to maybe, doing a bicep curl or doing a pull-up, maybe not be able to do as much as this one. So, plus this bigger guy, in the pull-ups, he's a little bit heavier. He's got to pull all that weight. The smaller guy, he's a lot lighter. He can pull that weight easier, and he pull himself. He can do maybe more pull-ups. So it's all over the place. So you can't really always tell by the size.
You have to be a fitness relativist new to the game. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. This is great. This is helpful. I hope it's helpful just to think through these identity and goal-based issues. They really seem important when you're embarking on this particular journey, to figure out how to rationalize your life and how it relates to what you're trying to do. So I hope this was interesting to folks. Please keep those questions coming. Look at the link in the show notes, and we will keep peppering in answers as they come. Until next week, on behalf of Srdjan Inyats, I'm Pete Wright. We'll see you right here at the gym.